Okay, welcome everyone to Tepid Girl Summer Reading. Thank you for being here, for taking some time away from your busy lives to be here with us and support all these wonderful poets, including myself. It's kind of weird. So today we have a great lineup, and our first reading is Alicia Escobedo. Alicia Escobedo uses she, her pronouns and received her MFA from Antioch University, Los Angeles. Her work explores themes such as queer womanhood, intergenerational trauma, and addiction, among other things. Her writing can be found in Gertrude Press, the Acentos Review, Sentience Literary Journal, Soul in Space, the Los Angeles Press, and more. She currently resides in San Antonio, Texas, where she works as a proposal coordinator and obsessively watches lesbian TikTok in her spare time. Please welcome Alicia Escobedo.
So I want to start by saying thank you to Jeri, Leo, and Cecilia for sharing the space with me. Three phenomenal women, phenomenal writers, and I'm beyond glad to call you guys friends. And of course, a huge congratulations to Jeri on the publication of You Are Not Alone, the reason we're here this evening. I can't wait to receive my copy, and if you haven't pre-ordered yours yet, do it not now, but after the reading. So I have 5 poems I'm going to read for you guys. This first one is after Demi Lovato's 2020 Grammys performance, After Anyone by Demi Lovato. 100 million stories and 100 million poems. I feel stupid when I write. Nobody's listening. The type of women I am drawn to, I find them drowning on kitchen, bathroom, bedroom floors. We drown together sometimes, and sometimes we swim. Sometimes we feel our feet on the ground below or above, small increments in between. The type of women I am drawn to, they hate it when I get clean. They bring dirt to my doorstep, beg me to take more. They muddy their souls with their spit and leave a path that leads back to them. This next one is My Wine House. I asked Nicole to be my Amy, not thinking of the implication or the way I used to wonder if I'd really like Amy in person. I don't even like my own mother or myself after a pint of whiskey or after a box of wine or after waking up with a crooked neck, head buzzing like a beehive, head buzzing like stage lights shining on this bathroom floor. Pints apart. The last time I saw my mother, weak with a thirst she could not quench, I kissed her goodbye once and again, afraid it was the last time I would see her. Lucky me, when she left herself inside my brother. She gave him everything she could not hold or stand inside herself. She made him her equal, measured out in pints. This next one is How to Take the Fall. Fall into the crevice of a woman with wild and lingering eyes, a woman who loiters but never connects, opens herself to you, shows you the cliff and the void below, but never allows you to stay where it's safe. When she asks you to carry the gun, you must hear the Google translation. I love you. You must carry it with pride. Give it your fingerprints, like when she presses her lips into your inner thighs. How else do you say yes? How else do you say, I love you too? There are rules. You will drive the car. You will be quiet. You will drive faster. You will listen. You will drive slower. You will obey. You will stop. You will go. You will stay. You will wait. You will leave. But the most important rule to remember is that you will always come back, even when you hear the gunshot, even when you feel the handle rough between both your palms. When you are arrested, you must confess. You must tell them about the way she looked at you from the other end of the bed. Tell them how her mouth felt like a promise, the way her tongue wrote devotions between your legs. When they ask who, tell them about her wild and lingering eyes. When they ask why, tell them about the Google translation. When they ask where, tell them about the cliff and the void below. When they ask how, tell them you jumped. This last one, I think is kind of timely with all the news right now with Britney Spears and her situation. It's not really about her or the situation, but it's called Disclaimer to Marie in the Britney Spears t-shirt. She asked for water. I gave her my mouth, then turned her body around. I left bruises like painted crumbs, the path taken to break vessels on the side of her neck. I listened to the building tremble as she got louder and came closer. She asked me to be the big spoon, then told me she'd never felt a heartbeat as strong and fast as mine, beating against her back. Do I make you nervous? She asked. Yes, but why? My tongue traced laps around hers, sacrificing syllables to saliva to keep from saying, because you're human. She said we could tell each other anything because we're strangers. She said we wouldn't see each other again. So I told her, I'm a felon, I'm a cheat. I broke up with my last ex via text, but I left out the part about still being in love with the sea. Later that night, she texted me, hit me up if you're ever in LA. I replied, but don't you know that I'm toxic? Thank you.
So beautiful. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Alicia. Those endings, I mean, they just leave you wanting more. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Our next reader is Cecilia Martinez-Gil. Cecilia Martinez-Gil has published 2 full-length poetry collections, A Fix of Ink and the multi-award-winning Sultry and Serpentines. She co-wrote the award-winning experimental video Itinerarios, featuring her as a protagonist. She publishes poetry and journalism in both Spanish and English, and she is a literary translator, an editor, and a blogger. Cecilia teaches English and Latin American literatures at Santa Monica College in California and has earned 4 masters in English rhetoric and literature, Luso-Hispanic literatures, creative writing, and urban sustainability. And her website is www.ceciliamartinezgil.com. Welcome, Cecilia.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here. I am super happy to see so many familiar faces and that we are sisters and the sisterhood of Antioch University MFA. And so it's a privilege to be here with you and to celebrate Jeri Frederickson, who is my sister, not only because of creative writing master's degree and Antioch, but also because we are both publishing in the same house, Finishing Line Press with the lovely Leah Maines and company. So I'm going to read first poem about language and emotions that was published in my first collection. And the title is Lexis of Emotions. I have a poem wrapped around my tongue, wet vowel, vacillating consonant, drapery of words that come to exist through me today. My mother tongue is not my language, for my native voice is the poetic texture of my being. Tied in a knot I must write to unravel my essence outwardly. For there is a force that binds me to my origins, a thread of tears, drop by drop, like footprints staining the soil, with echoes of laughter and sequences of sorrows. But now, a delectable, edible vocabulary envelops me in ephemeral sounds, gasped and whispered, mumbled and sung, most certainly sung. Poetry of luscious lyrics, delicious writings, a dish of voices multiplying, so there is no more agony, no more grief, only my living tongue in the birth of words departing from the center of its slippery humidity. Such a womb, this mouth. For I must reveal this, my own prophecies, marry the word to the myth, as the word is pronounced, plummeting within the story. For all I wish is to speak Lexis of emotions. So since I am with language, I'm gonna keep on going with language. But yeah, let me first read. This is Moisten Harmony, and it's also it's coming from a fix of ink. And it was created a song sung by the amazing Divinity Rocks. She really rapped my song, my poem, and it came out much better than it actually is. But it's called Moisten Harmony. Your moist fingers play and my page douses my hands in the tacit agreement of your music and my words, rendering promptly rare rhythms of immersed algae, suspended lotus, fluctuating water lilies, as rays of moonlight and sunlight agleam through the humid air, watering my language, swallowing your musical score. Spectacle of humid breath, thespian chamber of vowels and notes pronounced in sides as desires are, as a mating in the call and response of quavers and clefs expressed as onomatopoeias and ad libs rendering song. Your music and my poem birth the song, its origin of moistness, so we quench in the succulence of being alive in levity. The sultry craft of voiced sounds is beating its breathing impulse, inhaling, exhaling, thrusting its pulsation of millennia in the relentless earthling's mania of bearing the skin to the awe of experience, leaning on in flesh, revealed as blooming flower, so we may be moist in dew, as divine utterances vest us afresh, transformed in the duet and in its dance, while your fingers strum, while my pen scribes in moist harmony. So I was really, first of all, I bought 3 copies of You Are Not Lost, because I want to, and I probably buy a couple of more when I get paid or when I receive the stimulus, so I can give them for gifts, because it's beautiful to give poetry, and especially when we know the poets. So I encourage you, if you didn't buy, also like Alicia mentioned, don't buy now, but go buy. pre-order it after, and you won't regret it. So I was eager to try a couple of poems from two projects that I'm working on. One is a bilingual prose poetry collection. And so this is a prose poem. It's entitled En la punta de mi lengua. I woke up with a poem on the tip of my tongue, the beginning of the daydream where I think of the word azar in Spanish so randomly, and how the Z in the middle forms its sound in the center of my cupped tongue and slides out of my mouth almost surreptitiously between my upper and lower teeth, stumbling out of my mouth through my slightly parted lips as if a sigh. And I suddenly think of the word deseo, that I understand it now as desire instead of wish, but it is the wish caused by this random desire that nothing and no one could stand between us for the longest few minutes, asking us to keep 6 feet apart. And I wish that we could hold stares for the longest minute and not needing masks so I could hear you breathing and you me sighing, and that we could kiss for the longest minute as if I was saying deseo y azar and you desire and chance, meeting at the tips of our tongues, surrendering to the randomness of a fleeting desire and wishing that the longest minute ends this day in this another world instead of en este mundo al revés, where we actually live in. So that's good, thank you. And the other one is a collection that I've been working on for during the pandemic, which are very much dialogues or conversations with one of the characters in the novel that I wrote for the MFA program. And so, yeah, they're conversations, imaginary conversations. So the first one is called After Merwin's The Nomad Flute. But the flute stopped playing and there is light no more. Yet in here, darkness isn't the absence of light, but that I am blind, the meaning of my name. And this silence is solid and soundful, like the silence in music. I wish I could recover the smiles that your eyes writing you wrote back on my lips. But isn't it this proof that there was a shaft of light tethered between the dialogues on the pages and the conversations we held that night? Weren't my dreams of you factual if every time I woke up and ran to write you all over, nothing days hazed away? I heard you playing the flute. I heard you telling me where your music came from. I skydove into your ocean as they did, and I didn't drown. Perhaps I'll forget your unspoken words. Perhaps you forgive my spoken words, the many flowed drafts, my need to see more of you, my intrusions into your secret life. But I've been writing you every morning, and though you are my invention, I exist through your existence. You become as real as my breath. You and they are necessary, essential. I learned to reimagine new words to see your world. I needed to enter the places of your mind, see your body up close, the way you made love, the way you look at yourself in the mirror, so I could wear your skin and see with your blue eyes. But now I am ready to trim, to select, command, copy, command, cut, and paste the leftovers in an encrypted folder. Send it all to a locked realm and send those passages, mending the broken lines, asking for forgiveness for all my trespassing. I just wanted to see you whole, all together, dimensionally, but unsending means nothing if your eyes don't agree. I breathed you, Liam, breathe me back, just nod. I have time for one more, Leo, yeah, okay. So this is Darning. I ask many questions along a paperless mile of words. I absorbed a white light through a time such light has blinded me. Your impressions are riddles feeding my impressions, still overwhelming in their constant flooding of light, extravaganza. On this stage of a solo performance, poems flow every morning anew, humid in dawn, spotlight reaching the hems, even though after each sunset occurring the day before, I believe the coda has soon my last words for your story. I withhold so many more, unbeknown, unwritten. Is this the fourth horizon of a scroll as it evolves into codex? Don't answer that, except that you've given me the thread and the needle to stitch them words. Luminescence, even in the depths of the fold, now that hope dwells outside my window. Okay, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cecilia. And will you please read my bio so that I don't have to introduce myself?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, now we are going to have the amazing Leonora Simonovis, who is a bilingual poet who grew up near Caracas, Venezuela, and currently lives in San Diego, California, where she teaches Latin American literature and creative writing at the University of San Diego. She has an MFA from Antioch University, Los Angeles, and is a contributing editor for Drizzle Review. Her work has appeared in or is forthcoming from Gargoyle Magazine, the Ode Poetry Journal, The Rumpus, Arkansas International, Inverted Syntax, and Tinderbox Poetry Journal, among others. Her poetry manuscript Study of the Raft was the winner of the 2021 Colorado Prize for Poetry and will be published in November. Congratulations, and we're gonna do another reading.
Yes, we are. Thank you, Cecilia, for the introduction. And I just want to say that it's such a privilege and an honor to be here with all of you and to just share this space, especially after the year and plus we've had. And to be celebrating Jeri, who was my buddy at Antioch. And so congratulations again, Jeri. Super happy to be here. So I'm going to read about 6 or 7 poems. They're all short. The first one is bilingual. So I'm going to read the Spanish version first, and then I'll read the English version. Perspectivas. La mujer blande un machete mientras murmura moral, virtud, decoro, pudor, pureza, tradición, virgen de blanco. Camina con paso decidido hacia el jinete que la espera satisfecho después de una larga noche de bodas. La mujer levanta el machete, corta sin pausa, luego, satisfecha, sonríe. Perspectives. The woman wields a machete and whispers, morality, virtue, decorum, modesty, purity, tradition, virgin in white. She walks sure-footedly towards the horse rider who waits for her, satiated after a long wedding night. The woman lifts the machete, cuts without pause, then, satiated, smiles. This one has a bleeding title, so the title is the first line of the poem as well. I dream of yeasty corners. I dream of yeasty corners and cockroaches. My mother screams trapped in an elevator with no way out. I step on white eagle feathers, see a raven drinking from a rain bottle. A man tells me about whale songs. Suddenly, I'm leash walking a female wolf. She doesn't look at me. I tell her I'm not her master. A chain appears between my hand and her neck. Prayer for my future self. Give me the strength to resist my unnaming, the will to move my hips in the 4 directions of the wind, like Anacaona and Oshun and all the others before them. Help me resist the words aimed to break me. Perils are made of flesh and cannot be undone. Let my tears be the instrument of light. Let them carve a path under a waxing moon. Let my ears be the instrument of song. Protect me from the eyes of others. Teach me to gaze into my own. Instructions to self. Write your name backwards in the mirror, then kiss it. Glue your body to someone else's. Hitch your skirt high. Let them see the underside of tomorrow. Tie your shirt above your belly button. Remind them where you came from. The canela in your skin, even if they think you brown sugar burnt to bitterness. And the next few poems are newer ones. This one was kind of an experiment, so bear with me. On meditation, after Brendan Constantine. If you follow the breath with a pencil on a blank piece of paper, if you breathe the pencil and follow the blank, if you blank while following the pencil on the tip of the breath, and have you ever seen breath in a bag, the body still alive, but barely? This one also has a bleeding title, My Neighbors. My neighbors found a rabbit's head while trimming their night blooming jasmine, dropped by the Cooper's hawk who patrols what the neighbors think of as their piece of sky. Imagine them screaming, holding onto each other, taking turns deciding who will wrap the head in plastic before dumping it in the trash can. Do we bury it? No, it will come for more. They hacked the jasmine back, pulled out the ice plant, locked the tools in the shed, called city officials, animal control, the mayor's office. How many officials to dispose of all the heads? And the last poem I'm gonna read is actually based on a true story. That's something that happened to me. And it's called In Which I Am Isabel Allende for One Night. The lights are dimmed in the central library. It's January or maybe March. Outside, the tents from the homeless camps have not been swept away yet, or deemed a health hazard for our finest city. Our leaders say it's difficult to build homes, insert statistics on affordable housing, space, etc. But I digress. Today, I'm leading a book discussion on Paula, Allende's daughter, who passed away from a rare illness. I brought a quote that says, "No parent should have to bury their child," then realize I don't know how to follow that. Is there anything to add? I look at the door and wonder who will notice if I slip away. Think about the words I didn't say to my colleague who lost her only child because I told myself nothing I came up with would make a difference because my child lives and hers doesn't. I keep checking my notes. Maybe my mood had something to do with the dimness, and maybe with the city outside, the one that will be raised because beauty means something different for everyone. I'm so distracted, I don't notice the woman in front of me asking, "Are you Isabel Allende?" The author's face is in every poster in the room. I imagine this woman has probably seen it, and yet she still hopes for a different outcome. Not madness, but courage. Yes, I am Isabel Allende, I say. Thank you. And, sorry, I had to pull up. Our feature reader today is Jeri Frederickson. And Jeri calls Chicago home with her 2 cats and many plants. She swims in literally visual and performing arts as an expression of survival. She dives into art as a channel to nurture love and access beauty while questioning the experiences that hold people together. She graduated from Antioch University, Los Angeles with an MFA in writing and from Hope College with a BA in theater and English. She is the creative director of a nonprofit arts organization whose mission centers survivors of sexual violence. In the Chicago theater community, she is a member of Irish Theater of Chicago, and she spent 10 years as a freelance stage manager. Her chapbook, You Are Not Lost, is forthcoming in October 2021 from Finishing Line Press. Jeri has been published in print and online in Vine Leaves, Thank You for Swallowing, Awakened Voices, Thought Collection, Silver Birch Press, and Thimble Literary Magazine. And I will post Jeri's handles in case you are not following her and want to. And like everyone already has said, please pre-order her book if you haven't already done so. Welcome, Jeri. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. It's been so lovely to hear. Thank you, Cecilia, Alicia, and Leo, for reading tonight. I just want to sit here and listen to you all read all night. And thank you. It's lovely to see all of our Antioch friends and writers. And I'm very excited for You Are Not Lost to be coming out into the world, but I also hope everyone here will check out all of our books that are coming out and all the places where we're published. There's so much getting published out. So with that, I'm going to read a few poems from You Are Not Lost. And I will also just say, I picked the theme of Tepid Girl Summer. When Leo asked, I was like, about things. So I don't feel like the poems have been very tepid tonight. So just to say that. So the first poem I'm going to start with, the first two are what I call my messy love poems. So this first one is called Summer Stock Night in the Berkshires. We search for light, pulled into all-consuming spirals. You gaze more and speak less. With each search for nebulas, a cluster of death exhales lifetimes into the solar system's muck. The night brightens as my bangs graze your eyes. I inhale you and tomorrow's acid. We stitch together veins of gas and fire. And then this next poem actually started as a 20 projects poem. It's not that anymore, and has gone through many, many titles that some of you might have actually seen in workshop and helped me on. So thank you if you were helping with that. So this is called How to Make a Snow Angel in Front of Your Lover. Your beard is a worn bandage between my toes. The hair on your arm chafes as it lulls me to sleep. Your teeth flake my elbow. Cinnamon pours your ribs onto blue, green zeros and ones. In the patchwork of your room, you make the canvas. Jeri, this is Rockford. No, it's mud. My voice sounds like the bottom layer of purple when you want me. I made you wait. I won by losing. 11 out of 10 would recommend again the blistered cheek of freedom, the stunting turpentine of goals. Float then. Roll shirtless in sound waves. I will be whatever your Sturm und Drang is. You will reach finally as finally I release the sleeping dogs into trees as purple deepens to a husky stop. Thank you. And then these last three I'm going to read are from the main part of my collection, which is a crown of sonnets. So the last line of one sonnet becomes the first of the next and so on. And then at the very end, I put all of the first lines in order together. So the whole thing is called Overripe Apples, and it has an epigraph of 1920s through 2021, which spans my lifetime plus that of the oldest member of my family who I write about in this collection. And I really recommend, if there are things that feel like family secrets you're not ready to like completely talk about, or things where you're finding your own voice within a tangled family, this was a really insulating, is how Marilyn Nelson described writing her crown of sonnets. So I really recommend that like insulation. So I will read the first one that kicks off the series, and then I'll read two back to back. Too many apples to care about one, knocked off by pickers competing to reach the sweetest bite. Mom bargains for half price a bushel for fallen ones, and we pull the radio flyer through ruts to rows of naked limbs. The full price pickers eat as they go and abandon their gnawed cores. My family combs through their ghosts to glean perfect fruit hidden among the bruised wormy piles. Red peels stain our fingers as I chuck the ones beyond redemption down the row, not worrying about their tomorrow. A single seed is worthless unless that one uproots the whole damn tree. So that's how it starts. Also on Sunday, I read at a library and had to not say damn. It's very refreshing to actually write what I wrote and just say damn. Okay, so these next two are back to back in the sonnet. So I'll read them right next to each other. You'll hear the last line become the first line. And the tag on these is 1990s and 2000s. These will be my last two. What can I do with you? My applesauce crank answers with a jolt, trying to hop the counter's vice. Its spit candies my wrist. I'm 10 on this step stool, pushing myself and apples fresh from the flames down inside. It is 108 court season. When core and skin ooze from the side, the old panting lab gets them. The one who'd let me pluck out her lashes. Sugar, heat, and sweat turn the orchard's fallen rejects into canned goods, plopped into their baptismal bath. One by one, the seals bless us with a pop. I hold a freshly filled jar, gurgling hot, begging for a new choice. I wring its neck. Begging for a new choice, I wring its neck and plop the jar into the canning bath, scalding my fingers, just like vacation Bible school seeded the red letters in my ears. Like a cleansing fire, it grew. Even now, a freshly cracked Bible spine smells like steam from a hot apple pie. Mom allowed one scoop of vanilla ice cream, an omen. The night will meet its own woe. My eyes burn as I taste last year's remains. Too sweet. Have we expired? Will the ribbed jars seal their mark into my frozen fingers? Can I toss the old, make a new choice? Or am I left to this crank and steam again? Thank you all so much for being here and supporting my chapbook coming out into the world. This is my last week of pre-orders, which kind of like sets the tone for the whole run. So if you are thinking about purchasing, may I gently nudge you into purchasing in the next week? And please check out Leo, Alicia, and Cecilia's works. It's such an honor to read with you all tonight. Thank you.
Great job, everyone.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Lumari.
Thank you so much. This is so wonderful. I love reading with friends. Sort of good and relaxing, and it feeds the soul and the heart. And I just wanted to, I actually found a quote today before the reading, and I think it kind of gets to the point of like why we do these things. It is by Madeleine Langlet, who is the author of A Wrinkle in Time, and it's from her memoir, A Circle of Quiet. And it says, "But we do not write for ourselves alone. I write about what concerns me, and I want to share my concerns. I want what I write to be read." And, you know, every time I think about why the heck am I doing this, I always try to think about that, like the connections that we make and, you know, the friendships and why we're here. So I'm going to stop the recording